Have you ever had someone flip the script on you? When you got them dead to rights, red-handed and caught, and they then have the audacity to point the finger at you and say, "You did this to me." Or even the better response, "That never happened." Or my favorite tactic, deflection. Deflection is a psychological defensive coping mechanism where someone shifts the blame, responsibility, or focus away from themselves and onto someone or something else by means of deception, misrepresentation, humor, or aggression. It is one of the most common tactics that a narcissist will use, and it's very easy to spot. Recently, Pastor Dowell has evoked a new narrative that he's using regarding his approach to his forsake all doctrine. It seems that this subject is a hot commodity given that he feels the need to speak on it on a almost weekly basis all of a sudden. Pastor Dowell's new tactic is to deflect from the reality that he's misinterpreting Luke 14, Acts 2, 4, and 5, and instead shift the blame onto his very own members. His new tactic is to say, "We don't take anything from anyone because almost all the new members have nothing to give anyways."
But I want y'all to listen to me real close. Less than 2% of the people in the entirety of Straightway have anything to give when they come to this ministry and come to these communities. Less than 2%. It says that all that believe were together and they sold possessions and goods. Again, 99.9 or 99% of the people that in this ministry ain't had no possession because you never owned nothing because you was always in debt to every damn thing. You had nothing to give. So while you're here, guess what? All you have left to give is yourself. For the word sake. So you got the substance, and then you have you yourself, which is a treasure that is hidden in earthen vessels that can get. So we've never taken anything. And watch this. I don't know about y'all, but I can tell you straight up that in the history of Straightway, Tennessee, less than 1% of the people has ever come to this community and have so-called, quote unquote, forsaken all. This is a poor man's ministry. Why? Because the poor are going to inherit the earth. I'm not doubting, and I'm not saying the people who didn't have any substance at all.
In the mind of Pastor Dowell, even assuming the possibility of being an error is an unacceptable thing. So instead, justifying the error with low IQ semantics is the best way forward for him. I ask everyone who's viewing this video right now to please pay close attention to how subtle this man is. Let's do a thought process. Pastor Dowell's new members are all poor and in debt and therefore have nothing to give to the ministry. Does Pastor Dowell turn them away? No. He'll accept them in and will place them, depending on who they are and if they are with a family, onto a community or a nearby fellowship before committing to the new member for a on-land living experience. That's not so bad, right? Again, this is a hypothetical new member who has nothing to give. So why does Pastor Dowell accept this person if they have nothing to give? Well, you can't just turn away a brother or sister who's on fire and wants to join your ministry, right? I'm sure some of you can give an interesting answer to that question, but for the sake of argument, let's give him the benefit of the doubt and say he will not turn away this brother or sister because he loves them and wants them to join Straightway. And so what is it that this brother or sister can give to Pastor Dowell? Their blood, sweat, and tears, servitude, hard labor. That brother will be taught how to build and will be put to the plow. Somebody has to build those houses for Pastor Dowell, right? So you may be asking yourself, well, what's the problem here? And my response to you would be, there is no problem. If that's the system that Pastor Dowell uses to run his compound, then that's his way of doing things. Who am I to tell a man how to run his land? The issue, however, as I have said many times already, is when you try to use the Bible as justification for your actions. The moment you open the word of my king and start using it to justify your hard labors with no wages, to justify giving all and requiring forsaking all to be saved, and consistently insinuating that not living on a community requires one to go to hell, then I will come at you.
You guys hear me? There is no other way. I know they'll tell you to make you feel. Community is not for everybody. I'll be the first one to tell you. Community is not for everyone. But guess what? The kingdom of heaven is not for everyone too. Many will be in the lake of fire. Many. That's for a lot of people. See, the lake of fire is for a lot of people. But see, so the kingdom of heaven is for the remnant. It's for the few. The few, the remnant. So when we say community is not for everyone, the kingdom is not for everyone too. And we're going to use this time here on earth, which is dress rehearsal, to find out who's going to be made to go there and who's going to go that way.
And I say these things with shame because there is no biblical ecclesiastical system at Straightway for Pastor Dowell. We have seen the several witnesses who have approached Pastor Dowell with witnesses to his error and consistently seen him exclude himself from accountability. He cannot be judged by any man, and he has the final authority on all matters in his ministry.
Now, I need y'all to understand something. I'm the head of this ministry. I don't need their opinion. I don't need their judgments. I don't need nothing from them whatsoever at all. There's nobody in this ministry that can judge me.
So now I'm forced to treat Dowell like swine walking in the tabernacle. He is above the elders, above judgment, above correction, above rebuke. And you expect me to go to my brother and show his sin? How can I do that when that very same instruction is hated by my brother? How, when my brother will not even listen to me, to witnesses, to elders, or to the assembly? And so now Pastor Dowell has become the symbol of an imbecile to me that I can use as an example to prevent the pure-hearted from being ensnared by his false interpretations of Luke and Acts. And so we return to the subject at hand. Pastor Dowell's new tactic on his forsake all doctrine is as follows. He justifies it by saying people never had anything to begin with when they joined the ministry. Does that tactic address his misinterpretation of the scripture? No. Does that tactic correct his error on Luke 14:33? No. Does that tactic correct his error on Acts 2:4 and 5? No. And so what does this new tactic accomplish? Deflection. Pastor Dowell can successfully move the goalpost by deflecting your attention away from his false doctrine and onto the new members of Straightway who have nothing to give in the first place. The false doctrine remains unaddressed, your attention is no longer on Dowell, and the system of Straightway can continue as if nothing happened. What better way to avoid shame than to deflect from the elephant in the room and justify the false doctrine by telling the world that everyone who joins Straightway is poor and has nothing to give anyways when they join? It's a very subtle tactic, but I know the subtle one when I see him. He feeds you two truths and then a lie. Pastor Dowell is an expert at this tactic, and the effect it has on the audience is profound because his manner of speech is loud, brash, direct, charismatic. This personality type is one that is in very high demand in the realm of religion, if I can use that word. Because, pastors these days are weak, pathetic, feminine. So when we finally get to see a pastor who speaks with a semblance of masculinity, it becomes a spectacle. However, when you do your due diligence and actually test what Pastor Dowell is saying with the scripture, you come to a very simple conclusion. Pastor Dowell is not a smart person. Let's examine this brand new tactic that Pastor Dowell is utilizing, and let's give it a fair shot with the Bible. Pastor Dowell claims that new members are poor and in debt anyways, so they don't have anything to give in the first place. Therefore, The charges that he is scamming people is false because he can't be scamming anybody if he isn't taking anything from them in the first place when they join. Okay, let's assume he's telling the truth, and let's just follow this very simple, basic line of questioning here. Do you mean to tell me that 99% of the people at Straightway don't work? They don't have jobs? They don't have businesses with income? Does Kabeer pay for everyone's needs out of his own NFL pocket and no one else has any capability whatsoever at all to work and provide for themselves? I'm going to go on a whim and say the answer is no.
Other things, that are paid for by the community is I run the business Royal Interiors here. We have a drywall and plaster business, right? So
right here, when you interview some of the elders and some of the brethren that are the head of the communities, we have our own businesses. We have a trucking business. We have a financial business. We have a decking business. We have stores. We have people that are attorneys, doctors, lawyers. School teachers, homemakers, homeschool, midwives. You can go on and on and on and on. But the strength of all these.
And Pastor Dowell said to me, Brother Vernon, you need to get out from under that heathen and open your own business. So myself and Elder Rufus got to calling. The man of Yah said, get this going. So that's what we did. We opened up a business called Decks, Porches, and More.
So now that I've established these multiple witnesses, including Dowell himself, confirming, verifying the truth of the fact that there are businesses, jobs, stores, people who work in the ministry, this is going to show us that the people of Straightway do indeed have something to give. That is, their income and their unpaid hard labor. All the money they make is perpetually given to the community head who controls and decides where finances are going to be used. Is this in the Bible? No. Does Pastor Dowell care? No. This is a financial community system where there is a common unity and the finances are dealt with a communistic manner. It's literally communism. What Pastor Dowell doesn't understand is that the issue with communism is that you will eventually run out of other people's money. Those property taxes are really going to hurt, Pastor Dowell. You better make some sort of game plan to have in place so that you can pay them, like a job. And this tactic is nothing new. Pastor Dowell consistently does this same deflection tactic on the topic of inheritance. He even sends his lap dog, Ellis, to try and give a biblical breakdown.
Obey your authority. He's taking away your power. What about inheritance? Bruh.
In hearing that, it sounds just like Adam and Eve.
But it's one. I think it's in. I'm not sure. I think it's in Numbers or Leviticus. It also talks. It's the law of vows as well. Mm-hmm. But the book says, whatever you give to the Most High, whether it be man, animal, or land, you cannot redeem it because it belongs to Yah. Whether it be man, animal, lands, you cannot get rid of it, nor can you redeem it because it belongs to Yah.
You see how he uses the word inheritance as if it's some dirty word? It's sick what these animals have become. The verse that this character, Ellis, is referring is Leviticus 27:28. But no devoted thing that a man devotes to the Lord, of anything that he has, whether man or beast, or of his inherited field, shall be sold or redeemed. Every devoted thing is most holy to the Lord. Ellis is not an individual who displays intelligence. Neither is he someone who understands temple protocol. There is a difference between the dedicated thing and the devoted thing. If you actually studied Leviticus, if you actually studied the temple, you'll know how much of a, I was about to use a word that shouldn't be used, but I'll keep it clean. You'll know how much of a fool you sound when you bring up Leviticus 27:28, Mr. Ellis. For example, in verses 14 and 16 of Leviticus 27, it references the house and the field, and the Bible speaks of the dedicated thing, which is the Hebrew word for kadash. These absolutely can be redeemed, along with animals or lands, with a 20% fee added on top of the original cost. It's literally all over the book of Leviticus, chapter 27, that you used, Ellis. I guess you didn't read the whole thing. What Ellis is presenting is verse 28, which is the devoted thing, which uses the Hebrew word sherem. This is the holy, devoted thing, which cannot be sold or redeemed and must remain in the possession of the priests, of the sons of Aaron, who have the sole authority, according to the Bible, to receive those holy things in the first place. Numbers 18, verse 8 says, "Then the Lord said to Aaron, I myself have put you in charge of the offerings presented to me. All the holy offerings the Israelites give me, I give to you and your sons as a portion, your perpetual share." Ellis is insinuating that the lands given to Straightway are sherem and cannot be redeemed. Here's my question. Were the lands of Straightway ever given to the high priest to be consecrated as holy? No. Were the lands inherited by the sons of Aaron at Straightway? No. Does Pastor Dowell or anyone at Straightway have the biblical authority to handle holy gifts of Aaron? No. Yet here we have this Ellis character that believes that lands and income are sherem. This is the level of intelligence that we're dealing with when it comes to these leaders of Straightway. I am going to move on. We see Pastor Dowell also give a response to those who dare question their right of inheritance in his ministry.
Most people concerned about inheritance, and I don't know why they're concerned about inheritance, because they didn't get any inheritance and they've done nothing to prepare their children for any inheritance. All of a sudden it comes with concern because somebody's talking about it, not that they've done anything about it. Listen, talk is cheap. And a lot of people out there got the gift of gab, but they ain't doing nothing. Again, leave this world, you're going to leave with nothing too. I don't care how much you amass. You came, you're going to leave with nothing. Well, what about our children and inheritance? You didn't ask that shit 50 years ago when nobody had a damn inheritance, because all this damn slavery, only inheritance came up because we started talking about it. And you still don't get the fact, no matter where we at in this dispensation of time, because you're stupid as hell. Our inheritance is the kingdom.
Instead of giving an answer on inheritance, Pastor Dowell once again deflects and calls us stupid for not understanding the, quote, dispensation that we're in. Pastor Dowell is essentially saying that since we're not in our homeland, inheritance cannot and will not exist. Instead, the lands will be placed in Dowell's name for Dowell's use and for Dowell's control. And if you have anything to say about it, you will be kicked out of the ministry and given a 24-hour notice to move. This is the truth that we're dealing with here. What's interesting is this next clip. I'm going to present it with no comment.
I'm not going to be alive forever. Does that make sense? That means if I'm not going to be alive forever, that home is going to somebody. They could probably, his cow probably get it, and him and his 20 wives. But in this building process, since we don't have nobody helping us, only Israel, you understand what I mean? We have to build these homes, and then nobody really truly has permanent dwelling places. We have to move people around based on where the family is. People are not prepared for the places. And there are people that are prepared for the places. But if we only got a few people that is going to obey the scriptures and says, buy you land, build houses, plant gardens, and eat the fruit of them. If you only got a few people that's building, how long is it going to take us to get this done then?
Seems like Pastor Dowell's son is the only person who will be directly inheriting a physical home to his name in this ministry. What about everyone else, Dowell? You sure have a lot of homes being built. It would be nice if a brother had a house in his own name for his family. It seems like Pastor Dowell has homes being built in his ministry for the sole purpose of expansion. He's running a perfect pyramid scheme. Bring new members in, use them to build, control the lands, place the worthy in homes as tenants, attract them with exuberant gardens, maximize profits of the ministry by consuming and controlling their income, and then the moment they poke their heads out and ask about where their children will live when they die, you cut their heads off, remove them, put the next in line in their place, banish the guy to hell, give him nothing in return, and leave them out to dry as the revolving door continues to spin. This is what Straightway Truth Ministry is. The question remains unanswered. Why are these homes not being put in the name of these brothers and sisters who build them? Where does it say in the Bible that inheritance can only be done in the land of Israel? If the kingdom is our inheritance, why is Hezekiah going to inherit everything when Pastor Dowell dies? Pastor Dowell will always deflect these questions when they are asked. It's his favorite tactic on subjects he is unprepared to answer. And if we're being honest, Pastor Dowell would rather die than put a single inch of land in the name of a member of Straightway. Shalom.
Being righteous and good. Now, the book teaches us that if we, a good father will lay up an inheritance for his children's children. Is that right? If we keep following and doing away with this world teaches us to do, you ain't gonna have no inheritance for your children's children. You have nothing laid up on them. But if you doing what we're doing, you'll be able to have it. We started off with 14 acres. I did 13 or 14. Now we got 92. Or was it 90? 92 acres. Keep on expanding. That means we can now build more homes and put more saints in them.